Motivation is loud. It rises fast, and it disappears without warning. Discipline is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not need emotion. Most people wait to feel ready. They wait for energy. They wait for confidence. This audiobook ends that habit. You will learn to move without emotion, to act without excitement, to build progress through calm, repeated action. Quiet discipline always wins. HTR1. Stop waiting to feel motivated. You are trained to wait. You wait to feel ready. You wait to feel confident. You wait to feel energy rise in your body. And while you wait, nothing moves. Days pass. Opportunities close. Standards fall. You call this normal. It is not normal. It is avoidance dressed as preparation. Motivation is unstable. It changes with sleep, weather, praise, and fear. It disappears when pressure arrives. Yet you built your life around it. You say, I'll start when I feel like it. You say, tomorrow I'll have more drive. You say, I'm just not in the mood. Mood is not a command. It is noise. If you obey it, you lose authority over your own behavior. You have a choice. You can be ruled by emotion, or you can be ruled by decision. One makes you fragile. The other makes you effective. Most people want to feel powerful before they act. This is backward. Power is produced by acting. Action creates clarity. Action creates energy. Action creates momentum. Waiting creates doubt. Readiness is irrelevant. There will be mornings you feel slow. Afternoons you feel distracted. Evenings you feel empty. Act anyway. You are not required to like the work. You are required to do it. That's the key. You keep negotiating with feelings that were never designed to lead you. Feelings are signals, not authorities. They report comfort. They report fear. They report fatigue. They do not decide your future. You do. You have a choice. When the alarm rings, your mind will vote for sleep. When the task looks heavy, your mind will vote for delay. When effort appears, your mind will vote for ease. Minds love comfort. Growth does not. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Discipline begins where preference ends. You act because it is time to act. Not because the emotional climate is perfect. Perfection never arrives. You think high performers wake up inspired. They wake up committed. Commitment is behavior without negotiation. They start before the mind begins its argument. They move before doubt warms up. They understand a rule most people resist. I act without emotion, not because they are cold, because they are trained. Training means repetition under resistance. Anyone can move when excited. Anyone can focus when interested. The amateur requires desire. The professional requires a standard. Your new standard is simple. Action comes first. You move, then feelings follow, often slowly, often reluctantly, but they follow. Once you begin, the brain adapts. Attention stabilizes. Energy organizes. But this only happens after starting, never before. You are addicted to the promise of later. Later I will try. Later I will focus. Later I will become serious. Later is a fantasy that protects you from effort now. Erase it. You have now. And now demands behavior. You don't need their permission. Not from friends. Not from family. Not from coworkers who live in excuses. They will wait for inspiration. You will build momentum. They will analyze mood. You will execute. They will talk about plans. You will finish tasks. The distance between you will widen, quietly, without drama. Because consistency compounds faster than intention. Understand something critical. Starting poorly is superior to waiting perfectly. Messy action teaches. Delay teaches nothing. You fear beginning without the right feeling. But the right feeling is earned mid-process. Courage appears in motion. Confidence appears in repetition. Never at the starting line. You have a choice. Return to comfort, or step into command. Command means you give the order and the body follows. No debate, no delay. You say begin, you begin. You say continue, you continue. You say finish, you finish. Simple? Hard, but simple. Readiness is irrelevant. You might be tired. You might be bored. You might be irritated. None of this removes responsibility. Your future will be built by completed actions, not preferred emotions. The work does not care how you feel. It only responds to whether you show up. So show up, even badly, even uncertain, even resistant. Especially then, because every time you act despite emotion, authority transfers back to you. You become less reactive, more deliberate, stronger. This is how self-respect is built, not by thinking better thoughts, by keeping promises in low moods. Anyone can promise in high moods. That is easy. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. From this moment forward, the rule changes. You do not wait to want. You begin. You do not wait for clarity. You create it through movement. You do not wait for energy. You generate it through effort. Action comes first. Say it again. Action comes first. One more time. Action comes first. Good. Let this replace the old habit of hesitation. Let it interrupt excuses before they finish forming. Let it become automatic. Because once starting becomes automatic, progress becomes inevitable. Here is the takeaway. Motivation is unreliable. Your decision is not. If you act only when inspired, you remain average. If you act by rule, you become dangerous. You have a choice. Choose action. Remove emotion from your standards. Most people set standards. Very few keep them. Why? Because their standards are attached to mood. If they feel strong, the standard rises. If they feel tired, the standard falls. If they feel discouraged, the standard disappears. That is not a standard. That is a suggestion. And suggestions collapse under pressure. You need something stronger. You need rules. Rules remain when emotion changes. Rules remain when energy drops. Rules remain when motivation vanishes. Rules create stability. Without them, your life becomes reaction. One day disciplined, next day careless. 1 week focused, next week scattered. You confuse intensity with consistency. Intensity is emotional. Consistency is structural. Emotion fluctuates. Structure holds. You have a choice. Build your day on feelings, or build it on rules. One produces chaos. The other produces progress. High performers are not more inspired than you. They are less negotiable. They already decided what happens at certain times. Wake, train, sleep. Not because it feels right, because it is written. My standards do not change. Say it again. My standards do not change. Good. Now understand what that means. It means a bad night does not cancel the morning. Stress does not cancel preparation. Doubt does not cancel execution. Your emotions can speak. They do not vote. Emotion does not decide. When standards move with feelings, identity becomes unstable. You never know who you are. Disciplined on Monday. Excuse driven on Tuesday. Focused when watched. Relaxed when alone. There is no foundation. Rules build foundation. A rule is pre-decided behavior. It removes thinking in the moment of weakness. You already chose, so the body follows. You wake up at the same time. You start work at the same time. You stop distractions at the same boundary. No drama, no inner meeting, no emotional referendum, just execution. That's the key. You are trying to win daily battles with willpower. Willpower is unreliable. Rules eliminate the battle. You don't wake up and ask, do I want to? You wake up and follow the rule. Simple. Freedom is not found in flexibility. Freedom is found in non-negotiable structure. Because structure protects you from yourself, from your impulses, from your rationalizations, from the clever excuses your mind manufactures at high speed. You don't need their permission. Not from people who live emotionally. Not from cultures addicted to comfort. They will call you rigid. Good. Rigid systems do not collapse. Flexible standards do. Look carefully at where your life breaks. Sleep schedule, work output, training frequency, focus depth. Why does it break? Because each one is still open to negotiation. Close it. Create fixed minimums. Minimum start time, minimum effort level, minimum completion requirement. You are not chasing perfection. You are building reliability. Reliability builds trust with yourself. Trust builds confidence. Confidence builds range. But it starts with rules. Rules create stability. Imagine removing the daily question of if. If I work, if I train, if I prepare, gone. There is only when. And the answer is already decided. Notice what disappears. Anxiety drops. Procrastination weakens. Internal debate shortens. Because the decision was made in advance, in a moment of strength. Past you protects present you. This is maturity. You stop asking the current mood to run the day. Current mood is temporary. Standards must be permanent. My standards do not change. Even when you travel. Even when you are stressed. Even when you are disappointed. Especially then. Anyone can maintain rules when life is smooth. Strength appears when life is not. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Comfort says adjust today. Discipline says hold the line, hold the line. You will feel the urge to soften it. To give yourself room. To say just this once. That phrase has destroyed more progress than failure ever did. Because it sounds harmless, but it reopens negotiation. And once negotiation returns, inconsistency follows. Emotion does not decide. Fatigue may be present. You still follow the sleep rule. Distraction may be loud. You still follow the work rule. Resistance may rise. You still follow the effort rule. You are training predictability in behavior. Predictable behavior creates powerful outcomes because repetition compounds. When your actions are stable, improvement becomes mathematical, not emotional. This is how professionals operate. They are boring, repetitive, structured, and nearly impossible to stop because they are not reinventing themselves each morning. They are continuing. You have a choice. Be exciting and inconsistent, or be structured and dangerous. The world praises excitement. Results reward structure. Choose correctly. Start small if you must, but make it fixed. Wake time, start time. Shutdown time. Non-negotiable. Write it, follow it, repeat it. Then expand. Add deeper work standards. Add training intensity rules. Add recovery protocols. Layer by layer, instability leaves. Your life becomes steady. You become steady. And steady people finish what they begin. Here is the takeaway. If feelings define your standards will collapse. If rules define your standards, your life will stabilize. My standards do not change. Emotion does not decide. Rules create stability. GPR 3. Build systems, not surges. You like the surge. The sudden wave of effort. The dramatic restart. The powerful declaration that now everything changes. It feels strong. It feels serious. It feels productive. But it does not last. Because intensity is emotional, and emotion fades. You rise fast. You burn bright. You disappear. Again and again. You call it trying. It is instability. Surges create hope. Systems create results. A surge depends on excitement. A system depends on repetition. One is fragile. The other survives bad days. Consistency beats intensity. You must decide what you want. Do you want the feeling of effort or the outcome of effort? Because they are not the same. The feeling is loud. The outcome is quiet. The feeling is immediate. The outcome is delayed. Most people chase the feeling. Professionals build the system. A system is a repeatable way of operating. It is small enough to do daily, clear enough to execute when tired, stable enough to survive mood swings. It does not require heroics. It requires obedience. I follow the system. Say it again. I follow the system. Good. Because the moment you stop following systems, you return to emotional living. Today strong, tomorrow absent. You already know where that leads. You have lived it. New plan, big push, short run, then collapse. Not because you are incapable, because you relied on intensity. Intensity asks for more than you can regularly give. Systems ask for what you can sustain. That's the key. You win by reducing drama. No more extreme days. No more heroic recoveries. Just calm, repeated execution. Every day you perform the same essential behaviors. Wake, work, improve. You don't redesign the process. You run it. Small actions compound. Tiny improvements, repeated, become power. But they must repeat. If you read one day and quit for 3, there is no compound effect. If you train hard once and disappear, there is no compound effect. If you focus deeply only when inspired, there is no compound effect. Compounding rewards loyalty to routine. Nothing else. You have a choice. Impress yourself occasionally, or build something that grows without drama. Growth loves boring people, because boring people show up every day at roughly the same time, with roughly the same effort. They do not spike, they stack, and stacks become towers. Consistency beats intensity. Intensity is fun to talk about. Consistency is difficult to notice, but over months, consistency becomes unbeatable. Here is what you must understand. Systems protect you from emotional volatility. When you are excited, the system prevents overreach. When you are tired, the system prevents collapse. It keeps you in range. Forward. Always forward. You don't need their permission. Others will prefer surges. They will attempt transformations in a weekend. They will quit in a week. You will still be moving in a year, because you chose repeatability over excitement. Look at your current approach. Too big, too complex, too dependent on perfect conditions. Simplify. What is the minimum daily action that keeps progress alive? Define it. Protect it. Repeat it. Maybe it is 30 minutes of focused work. Maybe it is a fixed study block. Maybe it is baseline physical training. It does not need to be impressive. It needs to happen every day, without debate. I follow the system, not when I feel like it, because it exists. You are building identity through repetition. You become the person who executes daily, not occasionally, daily. There is enormous power in that, because self-doubt cannot survive proof, and daily action is proof. You begin to trust yourself, not your intentions, your behavior. Trust grows quietly, then performance expands. But expansion sits on stability, and stability comes from systems. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Some days the routine will feel dull. Good. Dull means sustainable. Dull means repeatable. Dull means you are not relying on adrenaline. Adrenaline burns out. Systems endure. If you ever wonder whether your approach will last, ask one question. Can I do this on a bad day? If the answer is no, redesign it. Remove complexity. Lower friction. Shorten the start. Make it automatic. The easier it is to begin, the more likely you are to continue. And continuation is everything. Small actions compound. Miss enough days and the chain breaks. Protect the chain. Not with emotion, with design. Prepare your environment. Set start times. Reduce decisions. Let the system carry you when enthusiasm disappears, because it will. And when it does, amateurs stop. You continue. That difference, repeated, changes lives. You have a choice. Live in cycles of rise and crash, or live in steady accumulation. One is dramatic, the other is unstoppable. Choose accumulation. Here is the takeaway. Surges feel powerful but fade. Systems feel ordinary but win. I follow the system. Consistency beats intensity. Small actions compound. Chi aptar for train. When no one is watching, public effort is attractive. It gives you recognition. It gives you applause. It gives you identity without completion. You announce the plan. You share the intention. You display the beginning. And you receive approval before results exist. Dangerous. Because the reward arrives early. When the mind is rewarded, urgency drops. You feel accomplished without having done anything difficult. This is how progress dies in public. Real discipline avoids this trap. It operates without witnesses. It does not require attention. It does not request praise. It builds strength where no one looks. I work in silence. Say it again. I work in silence. Good, because silence removes performance. When no one is watching, there is nothing to act. No image to maintain. No impression to manage. Only the task remains. And the task is honest. It exposes effort. It exposes weakness. It exposes whether you truly follow your standards. In private, excuses become obvious. There is no audience to blame. No sympathy to collect. Just you and your behavior. That's the key. Public declarations feel productive. Private completion is productive. You must learn the difference. If you speak too early, you leak energy. Talking replaces doing. Planning replaces executing. Imagining replaces building. And slowly, you become someone who describes life instead of living it. You have a choice. Chase recognition or chase improvement. One makes you visible. The other makes you capable. Capability lasts longer. Validation is unnecessary. If the work is correct, results will speak later. You do not need applause in advance. In fact, early applause weakens commitment. Because now you must defend an image instead of building skill. Images are fragile. Skill is durable. So you protect your work by keeping it quiet. You wake up, you execute, you finish. No announcement, no report, no highlight. You let repetition shape you without interruption. This is where real confidence forms. Not from being seen, from knowing what you did when you were unseen. That knowledge is unshakable. Because it is private proof. You don't need their permission. Not to begin. Not to continue. Not to improve. And you certainly do not need their awareness. Others may misunderstand your silence. Let them. You are not managing perception. You are managing progress. These are different careers. Progress is slow, quiet, and invisible at first. Perception is loud, immediate, and shallow. Choose carefully. I work in silence. Silence protects focus. When you stop broadcasting, you stop performing. You conserve energy. You stop checking reactions. You stop waiting for encouragement. You simply continue. And continuation is power. Look at how often people interrupt their own momentum. They pause to post. They pause to explain. They pause to update. Each pause breaks depth. Each break weakens intensity. You want fewer breaks. Fewer exits. Longer immersion. Silence gives you that. Because there is nothing else to maintain. Progress is private. At least in the beginning. Roots grow underground. No one applauds them. But without them, nothing stands. You are growing roots. Strength of attention. Strength of follow-through. Strength of identity. These are invisible. Until they are undeniable. And by the time they are undeniable, you no longer care who notices. Because you already know. Understand this clearly. If you require external recognition to continue, you are still externally controlled. Remove the dependency. Work without witnesses. Finish without announcement. Improve without commentary. Emotion does not decide. Loneliness may appear. Keep working. Boredom may appear. Keep working. The desire to be seen may appear. Let it pass. Return to the task. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Comfort wants connection and approval. Discipline wants completion. Completion builds freedom. When you consistently finish private work, something changes. You become internally directed. You move because the rule exists, not because attention is available. This is adulthood in performance. No supervision required. No reminders needed. You say it. You do it. Every day. Imagine the power of months of unseen preparation. No noise. No display. Just stacking evidence. When the moment to perform publicly arrives, you are ready. Not because you hoped. Because you trained. Quietly. You have a choice. Trade your future strength for present attention, or protect your future by refusing early recognition. Refuse it. Let others celebrate beginnings. You will celebrate mastery. Small, repeated, silent execution creates massive separation over time. While they talk, you build. While they announce, you accumulate. While they perform, you prepare. And preparation wins. I work in silence. Validation is unnecessary. Progress is private. Here is the takeaway. If people must see it for you to do it, you are not disciplined. Discipline continues in darkness. Build there. In the next chapter, we confront another threat to your growth: impatience. You will learn how to stay committed when results move slower than your expectations. We move from privacy to patience. Chapter 5. Reduce the volume of your life. Your environment is loud. Notifications, opinions, requests, breaking news, endless commentary. Something is always calling you, and every call pulls attention away from what matters. You think distraction is harmless. It is not. Attention is a resource. When it is scattered, discipline weakens. When discipline weakens, standards fall. When standards fall, progress stops. The chain is simple. Noise, fragmentation, inconsistency. If you want control, you must lower the volume. Less noise, more control. Say to less noise, more control. Good. Because clarity cannot survive constant interruption. Every alert resets your focus. Every conversation leaves residue. Every input competes for priority. Soon you are busy but ineffective. Active but not advancing. You mistake movement for progress. But progress requires depth. Depth requires quiet. Silence sharpens discipline. Without silence, you cannot hear your own rules. You cannot feel the structure of your day. You drift toward whatever shouts the loudest. Usually something easy. Usually something urgent but unimportant. And the important work waits again. You have a choice. Let the world schedule your mind, or protect it. Protection begins with reduction. Fewer apps open, fewer voices allowed, fewer obligations accepted. This is not isolation. It is filtration. You decide what enters. Not randomly, not emotionally, deliberately. I choose calm. Calm is not passive. Calm is controlled. It means you are not reacting every minute. It means you can hold attention long enough to produce something meaningful. Look at the cost of constant input. You start reading something important. A message arrives, you check it. Then another. Then curiosity. Then 10 minutes gone. Then momentum lost. Then frustration. Now the task feels heavier. You blame motivation. But the problem was access. You gave distraction a door. Close it. You don't need their permission. Not to be slower to reply. Not to be unavailable sometimes. Not to protect working hours. People who demand constant access rarely produce anything deep. Because depth requires absence from noise. If you want uncommon results, your availability must be uncommon. This will feel uncomfortable. Good. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Comfort wants connection and novelty. Discipline wants continuity. Continuity builds mastery. Mastery requires long, uninterrupted stretches. You cannot build those while living in reaction mode. So you reduce. Turn off non-essential notifications. Create unreachable periods. Shorten conversations that drift. Stop consuming information that does not serve a defined purpose. You are not missing life. You are building one. Less noise. More control. Notice what happens when volume drops. Your thoughts slow. Priorities become visible. Energy stabilizes. You can finally stay with a problem long enough to solve it. This feels powerful. Because it is. Most people never experience sustained attention. They live in fragments. You are leaving that pattern. But you must be serious. Half measures will fail. If distraction is still easy, you will use it. So make it difficult. Distance your phone. Block sites. Schedule communication. Design friction against interruption. Make focus the default. That's the key. You are not trying to become stronger than temptation every hour. You are trying to encounter temptation less often. Design beats willpower. Always. Silence sharpens discipline. In quiet, you see yourself clearly. You notice avoidance faster. You return to work quicker. You waste less time pretending. Noise allows escape. Silence removes it. This is why many people avoid quiet. Because in quiet, responsibility is visible. You cannot hide from what you should be doing. Good. See it. Then do it. I choose calm. Calm mornings. Calm work blocks. Calm evenings. Predictable. Structured, protected. From here, productivity rises without drama. Because energy is not constantly leaking, you keep it. You apply it. You finish. Understand something important. Reducing noise is not about becoming empty. It is about becoming precise. You give attention where it produces return. You withdraw it where it does not. Over time, this multiplies output. While others drown in updates, you create. While others react, you advance. Quietly, daily, you have a choice. Live in permanent interruption, or construct an environment that respects your goals. Choose construction. Here is the takeaway. Noise is not neutral. It erodes discipline. Reduce it, and control returns. Less noise, more control. Silence sharpens discipline. I choose calm. In the next chapter, we build on this calm by strengthening your ability to stay with difficult tasks. After the initial discomfort hits, you will learn to remain present instead of escaping. We move from quiet to endurance under pressure. CFTR 6. Make boring actions non-negotiable. You want progress, but you want it to feel interesting. You want improvement with stimulation, growth with novelty, discipline with variety. That fantasy is expensive, because mastery is not exciting. It is repetitive, predictable, uneventful, often dull. And most people leave right there. They begin with energy. They leave with boredom. Not because the method failed, because it stopped entertaining them. Boring builds strength. Say it again. Boring builds strength. Good. Because if you cannot tolerate the ordinary, you will never reach the exceptional. The fundamentals are simple. Practice, review, repeat. No fireworks, just accumulation. But repetition feels slow, so the mind looks for upgrades, new tools, new plans, new strategies. Anything except another round of the same work. You call this optimization. It is avoidance. You are escaping discomfort disguised as monotony. You have a choice. Stay with the repetition, or restart endlessly. One builds skill. The other builds frustration. I do what is required, not what is entertaining. Required means necessary for improvement, even if it is tedious. Especially if it is tedious, because tedium filters amateurs. Anyone can chase excitement. Few can stay with simplicity long enough for it to transform them. That's the key. You win by outlasting boredom, not by outsmarting it. When the work becomes familiar, resistance will speak. You already did this. This is too basic. You need something new. Ignore it. Basic executed daily beats advanced attempted occasionally. Repetition creates power. Your brain wires through recurrence. Movements become efficient. Decisions become automatic. Attention becomes stronger, but only through exposure. Again, again, again. Miss too often, and the wiring weakens. Stay consistent, and it solidifies. Professionals live inside this loop. They run the same drills. They rehearse the same patterns. They refine tiny details. For years. They are not bored by repetition. They are loyal to it. You must become loyal too. I do what is required, whether I like it or not. Emotion does not decide. Interest does not decide. Fatigue does not decide. The requirement decides. You show up to the practice block. You perform the fundamentals. You complete the checklist. Then you leave. No drama. No evaluation of excitement, just completion. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Comfort wants stimulation. Discipline wants progress. Progress often hides inside monotony. Look at any strong system. It runs on repeat. Wake at the same time. Start at the same time. Work the same foundations. This predictability is not weakness. It is force, because it allows improvement to compound. If you change methods too often, compounding resets. You stay a beginner forever. Boring builds strength. The lift is repeated. The page is read. The skill is drilled. Nothing glamorous. But weeks later, you are sharper. Months later, you are dangerous. Years later, you are rare. All because you stayed where others drifted. You don't need their permission. They may laugh at how simple your routine looks. Let them. They are addicted to novelty. You are committed to growth. Growth is quiet. It hides inside ordinary days. You must learn to respect ordinary days, because most of your life will be made of them. If you cannot win there, you cannot win anywhere. Here is a practical rule. Identify the unexciting tasks that matter most. Administrative work, practice reps, preparation step, recovery habits. Schedule them. Protect them. Complete them whether enthusiasm is present or absent, especially absent, because that is where character forms. Anyone can perform interesting work. Few can execute dull requirements with precision. That difference separates participants from professionals. Repetition creates power. It builds trust in your ability to continue. It reduces hesitation. It increases speed. You start faster. You resist less. You finish more. Why? Because you trained yourself to move without needing novelty. Movement becomes identity. And identity is stable. You have a choice. Be entertained or be effective. Entertainment fades quickly. Effectiveness compounds forever. Choose forever. Boring builds strength. Let the work be plain. Let the process repeat. Let improvement arrive slowly. You are not racing for today. You are building for years. Stay, continue, complete. Here is the takeaway. Mastery hides in the dull. If you refuse the ordinary, you refuse growth. I do what is required. Boring builds strength. Repetition creates power. In the next chapter, we confront what happens after repetition becomes heavy and fatigue begins to accumulate. You will learn how to continue without resentment. We move from monotony to resilience. CETA 7. Detach identity from results. You want results, of course you do. Better numbers, better recognition, visible progress. There is nothing wrong with outcomes. The problem begins when your identity attaches to them. Now, every result becomes a verdict. Good result, you are worthy. Bad result, you are doubtful. Up and down, pride and fear. Confidence and hesitation. All day. This is emotional instability. And instability destroys discipline. Because when results threaten ego, behavior changes. You play safe. You delay starting. You avoid difficulty. You protect image instead of building skill. Effort disappears. You have a choice. Serve your ego or serve your development. They are rarely the same. If you want long-term growth, identity must detach from outcome. Effort is my focus. Say it again. Effort is my focus. Good, because effort is controllable. Results are influenced by many variables. Timing, competition, luck, external decisions. You cannot command these, but you can command presence. You can command preparation. You can command persistence. I show up regardless. Regardless of yesterday's score. Regardless of how you think it will go. Regardless of whether reward seems near. Showing up is the victory you control. And control builds stability. When effort becomes the metric, fear reduces. You are no longer asking, will I win? You are asking, did I give what I decided to give? Clear, measurable, repeatable. That's the key. Most people quit when results lag. Not because progress is impossible, because ego is uncomfortable. They expected faster validation. They wanted proof early. When it did not arrive, emotion weakened commitment. Do not fall into that pattern. Results come later, often much later, long after repetition, long after boredom, long after doubt. There is usually a long invisible season. Can you survive it? You can if identity is anchored to effort. You cannot if identity is anchored to applause. Validation is addictive. When it disappears, withdrawal begins. And many people interpret withdrawal as failure. It is not failure, it is training. Training your ability to continue without reward. It's not about comfort, it's about discipline. Comfort wants reassurance. Discipline wants adherence to the plan. Even when reassurance is absent, especially then, you don't need their permission. Not to feel proud of honest work. Not to respect your own consistency. You know if you showed up. You know if you executed. That knowledge is enough. Private satisfaction replaces public approval. This makes you dangerous, because now you cannot be emotionally manipulated by short-term outcomes. Win or lose. You return tomorrow. Good day or bad. You return tomorrow. Praise or criticism. You return tomorrow. I show up regardless. The return is power. Look at professionals who last. They are emotionally flat about results. Not indifferent. Stable. They review performance. They correct mistakes. Then they return to routine. No drama. No identity crisis. Why? Because they did not build self-worth on yesterday. They built it on standards. Standards survive fluctuation. Ego does not. Effort is my focus. Effort during preparation. Effort during execution. Effort during review. If effort is honest, progress will eventually respond. Maybe slower than you prefer, but it will respond. Compounding does not ignore loyalty. It rewards it quietly. But the quiet phase tests you. You will want proof. You will want confirmation. You will want evidence that this is working. And often, there will be none visible. Continue anyway, because quitting resets everything. Consistency builds pressure. Pressure produces breakthrough. But only if maintained. Results come later. Let that calm you. You are not behind. You are early in the process. Stay. Detach from the scoreboard. Attach to behavior. Did you start on time? Did you hold focus? Did you complete the requirement? Yes. Then the day counts, regardless of external response. This is maturity. You stop negotiating with uncertainty. You accept it. You work inside it daily. You have a choice. Let outcomes control emotion, or let standards control behavior. One makes you reactive. The other makes you relentless. Choose relentless. I show up regardless. When you repeat that long enough, identity shifts. You become dependable, calm, hard to discourage. Because discouragement needs ego, and ego is no longer driving. Effort is. Here is the takeaway. If results define you, discipline will collapse under pressure. If effort defines you, consistency becomes natural. I show up regardless. Results come later. Effort is my focus. In the next chapter, we strengthen this further. You will learn how to operate when progress becomes slow, invisible, and patience is stretched thin. We move from detachment to long-term commitment. CTR 8th. Move at a calm, relentless pace you have been taught to hurry. Faster is better. Urgency means importance. Pressure means progress. So you rush. You start fast. You push hard. You try to compress time. And soon you are exhausted. Attention drops. Standards slip. Consistency fractures. Then comes recovery, a pause, a reset. Another promise to begin again. This cycle feels productive. It is not. It is emotional movement, not sustainable advancement. Calm is strength. Say it again. Calm is strength, because calm allows continuation. When you are calm, you can repeat tomorrow. When you are frantic, you collapse tonight. Relentless does not mean aggressive. Relentless means unbroken, day after day without spike, without crash. I move steadily. This is the rhythm of professionals. They are rarely dramatic. They are rarely extreme. They simply keep going. While others sprint and stop, they walk past them, slowly, certainly, without noise. You must abandon the addiction to urgency. Urgency creates the illusion of importance. But importance is proven by duration. How long can you maintain quality? How many days can you repeat the behavior? How many weeks can you hold the standard? That is power. That's the key. You win by lasting, not by flashing. The mind will resist this. It wants visible acceleration. It wants immediate transformation. It wants proof right now. But fast growth is usually unstable growth. You build too quickly. Foundation cracks. Now repair takes longer than construction. So you learn patience. You trade speed for permanence. I do not rush. Say it clearly. I do not rush. Rushing creates errors. Rushing invites shortcuts. Rushing reduces awareness. You move quickly, but you do not build deeply. Depth requires time inside the task. Time observing. Time correcting. Time repeating. Calm provides that time. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Discipline holds you in the process long enough for real change to occur. Comfort wants it finished. Discipline wants it done correctly. There is a difference. You have a choice. Arrive fast and fragile, or arrive later and unshakable. Choose unshakable, because unshakable lasts. Notice what panic does to your behavior. You skip steps. You multitask poorly. You chase completion over quality. Later you must return and fix it. Now total time increases. Calm would have prevented this. Calm is efficient. Calm protects energy. Calm allows precision. I move steadily. Steady means measured output, not lazy consistent. It means you know what you can sustain. You stay there. You repeat. And because you repeat, results compound. Others burn energy in emotional waves. You invest energy in controlled deposits. Small daily investments. Huge long-term returns. You don't need their permission. Some people will not understand your pace. They will try to rush you. They will inject urgency where none is required. Smile. Return to your rhythm. Because you are playing a longer game. You are not here for quick applause. You are here for lasting capability. That requires steadiness. If anxiety rises, slow your breathing. Return to the checklist. Execute the next step, not 10 steps. 1. Completion is built sequentially, not explosively. Repetition creates power. But repetition must be sustainable. If today's effort prevents tomorrow's effort, it was too much. Learn restraint. Restraint is intelligence in motion. It allows you to work again, and again. Years of this create separation that cannot be closed. Because very few people can remain patient. Very few can tolerate gradual improvement. They want the leap. You build the ladder step by step. Without drama, calm is strength. When you are calm, you see clearly. You make better decisions. You waste less energy. You recover faster. Your nervous system stays available for tomorrow. This is how longevity is built. Longevity wins. I do not rush. Even when opportunity appears. Even when fear whispers. Even when others accelerate. You maintain integrity of pace. You protect the system. Because the system is what carries you to mastery. Break the system for speed, and speed will break you. You have a choice. Chase quick wins, or build durable capacity. Capacity creates freedom. Freedom comes from reliability. Reliability is born in calm repetition. Here is the takeaway. Frantic effort burns out. Calm, steady action survives. And survival is what allows compounding to do its work. Calm is strength. I move steadily. I do not rush. Check R9. Repeat even on empty days. Some days will feel heavy. Sleep was poor. Focus is thin. Mood is flat. Nothing feels sharp. Nothing feels powerful. This is where most people disappear. They call it recovery. They call it self-care. They call it waiting for better conditions. But often it is retreat. And retreat repeated becomes habit. You lose rhythm. Momentum dissolves. Restart becomes harder than continuing. So understand the truth. Discipline matters most when energy is low. High-energy days are easy. You require no training to perform when you feel strong. The test is the opposite condition. The empty day. The resistant day. The day when comfort argues loudly. I move even when empty. Say it. I move even when empty. Good. Because movement preserves identity. When you act despite low energy, you remain consistent. When you stop, you begin negotiating. And negotiation spreads. One day off becomes two. Two become a week. Soon the system you built is fragile again. You return to starting. You have a choice. Protect the chain. Or protect your mood. Choose correctly. Mood changes nothing about responsibility. Your future still depends on repetition. Even small repetition. Especially small repetition. Minimum effort still counts. This is not about peak performance. It is about continuity. Continuity keeps wiring alive. Continuity protects habits. Continuity maintains self-trust. You are telling yourself, no matter what happens, I remain the person who shows up. That message is powerful. Because identity stabilizes behavior. If you always show up, starting becomes automatic. Automatic behaviors survive emotional storms. That's the key. On empty days, you reduce scale, not commitment. You shorten the session, lower the intensity, simplify the objective, but you do something, always something. Read one page, do one set, organize one block of work. Completion keeps the machine running. Stopping lets rust form. I do not break the chain. Say it again. I do not break the chain. The chain is sacred, each day linked to the next. Invisible strength. Break it, and doubt returns. Keep it, and confidence remains. You don't need their permission. Others may say, rest completely. They may say, skip today. They may encourage comfort. They are not building your future. You are. Rest can be structured. Rest can be earned. But disappearance is different. You are not disappearing. You are maintaining presence, even lightly. Especially lightly. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Discipline on strong days builds capacity. Discipline on weak days builds character. Character is what continues when capacity drops. Without character, systems collapse. You are building both. So you show up, even when irritated, even when slow, even when distracted. You accept imperfection. You aim for completion, because completion keeps rhythm, and rhythm is everything. Look at musicians. Miss the beat, and the structure breaks. Hold the beat, and the song continues. You are holding the beat of your life. quietly daily. I move even when empty. You may not produce brilliance. Fine, brilliance is not required. Presence is. The miracle of compounding does not demand greatness. It demands consistency, tiny deposits. Again and again, and over time, small deposits become massive difference. But only if they continue. You must become allergic to zero. 0 pages, 0 practice, 0 discipline. 0 is dangerous, because it teaches the mind that absence is acceptable. It is not. Replace 0 with minimum. Minimum is survivable. Minimum is repeatable. Minimum keeps identity intact. Minimum effort still counts. And tomorrow, energy may return, because you stayed engaged. Often action restores strength. But even if it doesn't, you still win, because you did not surrender. I do not break the chain. When you live this way, bad days lose their threat. They cannot stop you. They can only slow you. And slow progress still arrives. You have a choice. Let emptiness define behavior, or let standards define behavior. Standards win, every time. Here is the takeaway. Anyone can perform at full capacity. Few can remain consistent at low capacity. But low capacity consistency builds unstoppable identity. I move even when empty. Minimum effort still counts. I do not break the chain. In the next chapter, we tighten everything you have learned into one principle. Personal ownership, no blame, no escape, just responsibility. We move from persistence to command. CHTR 10. Become predictable to yourself. You want confidence. You want certainty. You want to believe in your own capacity. But belief is not created by wishing. It is created by evidence. And the strongest evidence is reliability. Do you do what you say you will do? Not sometimes. Not when conditions are perfect. Across moods. Across energy levels. Across outcomes. If the answer changes, trust weakens. If the answer stays the same, trust grows. I keep my word. Say it again. I keep my word. Good. Because every promise you make is a contract with yourself. Break enough contracts and self-respect erodes. You hesitate before committing. You doubt your own plans. You feel unstable, not because you are incapable, because you are inconsistent. Consistency repairs this. When behavior becomes predictable, identity becomes strong. You begin to know who you are. You are the one who follows through. You are the one who returns tomorrow. You are the one who finishes. That knowledge builds calm power. I am reliable. Reliability is rare. Many people are intense. Many people are talented. Few are dependable. Dependable people are trusted, given responsibility, given opportunity. Not because they are dramatic, because they are steady. Steadiness is built in private. Day by day, through repeated kept promises, you have a choice. Speak well or execute well. Execution builds trust. Words evaporate. Your brain is always watching. It records patterns. If it sees hesitation, it prepares doubt. If it sees completion, it prepares confidence. So give it completion, daily. That's the key. Predictability eliminates inner argument. When the time comes, you already know what will happen. You will act. No debate required. Energy is saved. Attention is preserved. You become efficient. Most people are unpredictable to themselves. They wake unsure. They plan loosely. They hope for the best. Hope is not structure. Structure is commitment fulfilled. I keep my word. Even when enthusiasm fades. Even when results are invisible. Even when distraction invites. Because identity is more important than comfort. It's not about comfort. It's about discipline. Every completed promise adds weight to your character. Soon quitting feels foreign. Soon delay feels uncomfortable. Soon discipline feels normal. This is transformation. Not dramatic, structural. You don't need their permission. Others may question your strictness. They may not understand your routine. They may prefer flexibility. Let them. They are free to live inconsistently. You are building certainty. Certainty feels different. It feels grounded. It feels calm. Because you are no longer guessing how you will behave. You already know. I am reliable. When you become reliable to yourself, fear decreases. Why? Because the future contains a predictable ally. You. No matter what happens externally, you will respond with effort. You will follow the rule. You will continue. That removes chaos. Imagine facing difficulty, knowing you will not abandon yourself. That is strength, real strength. And it is built through small daily integrity. Say you will wake early. Say you will work. Do it. Say you will return tomorrow. Do it. Over time, the gap between intention and action disappears. Now confidence is automatic. You trust yourself. I trust myself. Say it clearly, I trust myself. Trust is earned, not declared. You earn it through repetition under pressure, through boring days, through empty days, through slow days. You stayed. So now belief is natural. This is why reliability is everything. Without it, knowledge means nothing. Plans mean nothing. Ambition means nothing. Because you cannot depend on execution. But once reliability is present, everything becomes possible. Because execution is assumed, you have a choice. Be unpredictable and emotional, or be stable and certain. Stability wins long games, and you are playing a long game, years, decades. A lifetime of accumulated integrity, small promises. Kept every day. I keep my word. You will fail sometimes. Correct it quickly. Return immediately. Do not let error become identity. Identity is built on the majority of days. Make most days strong. Repetition creates power. Power creates range. Range creates opportunity. But the base is always reliability. Become someone you can count on. Then the world will too. Here is the takeaway. Self-trust is not magic. It is memory. The memory of promises kept. I keep my word. I am reliable. I trust myself. In the next chapter, you will learn how to raise the standard once reliability becomes natural. Because stability is the platform for expansion, we move from predictability to elevation. Psilocybin motivation will visit you. And it will leave you. Discipline stays. It does not care how you feel. It does not need encouragement. It simply repeats. From today forward, stop chasing emotion. Lower the volume. Fix your standards. Repeat the work, quietly daily, without exception. That is how discipline wins.